Located right up front for whatever questions you guys might have. So start thinking about your questions now. And the only other thing I'm going to ask is, when I announce them, I just need you guys to be as loud as possible. Is that cool? Yeah. All right, so here we go. Up first, let's bring out the wonderful Barbara Crampton! Incredible. I'm so excited to get to talk all things Re-Animator with you guys. I first want to ask, how often do you guys have the opportunity to actually, meet up and see each other at conventions?
Well, this year is a little bit intense because it's the 40th anniversary of Re-Animator. So we've been seeing more of each other this year than we have.
More than we may care to.
That's not true. He's this cynic, and we love each other. That's the great thing. We had a great experience together, and here we still are.
Like you said, 40 years in this movie, I mean, it is so incredible. Clearly a cult favorite, had stood the test of time. But I want to know, was there a moment for you on set where you looked around and you're like, oh my gosh, this is so insane, but it is totally going to work?
Anybody? Well, I will say that I hadn't done a lot of film work in front of a camera, so I didn't really have a frame of reference. But I do have a distinct memory of shooting the cat scene, and Mac Hallberg, our incredible DP, was at his camera, and I was standing next to him, just kind of trying to get through osmosis some knowledge, and he was looking through the lens, kind of framing, and he pulled his eye away and he said, you know, he was Swedish, so he said, you know, I think this movie would be pretty good. And I went, really? And he goes, yes. Well, he knew what he was talking about.
I think the funny thing is that, you know, for all of us, it was one of our first movies, and we were just lucky to have a job. That's what we thought. And we all liked the script, and we had fun on the movie, and Stuart would keep us a long time on the set, you know, typical days, like 10 to 12 hours on a movie set, and we worked 14, 15, 16-hour days because he wouldn't stop filming. He kept going and going and going. I mean, it was an incredible experience. I had a girlfriend visiting me on the set. It was your friend, Licia Knapp, and she was there. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning when we were doing that scene, and she said to me, Barbara, I'm really scared. What is going on? This movie's frightening to me. And can I like stay over at your house, or will you come over to my house tonight? Because I don't want to go home alone. And I was like, what? It's just special effects. But the cow, I don't know, stood out to me as being like, wow, this is like, what is that?
My idea of like when I started to feel like, this is like really working was, I don't know if we asked, I seem to remember we asked if we could see dailies, and probably a week into it we started to see dailies, and just going like, without music, without any sort of editing, without anything, just the rawness of it, you started to see like, that really worked.
I think one of the keys to the success of the movie is Stuart's insistence that we rehearse, which is really unusual. They don't give a lot of time on sets to rehearse. It's let's block it and shoot it. And the actors scramble in their trailer, like let's get together and run the lines. But Stuart, for 2 or 3 weeks, we would get together and we would run the scenes, block the scenes. So we had a very short shooting schedule. So when we came on set and we're doing this scene, we'd go, got it, we're ready. Which is invaluable, because you know, when you do theater, you spend 4 weeks rehearsing. When you do film, yeah, not so much. They don't want to pay for, why would we pay for getting ready, right? So it's a wrong dynamic, but it's the way that it is. But so he just knew, coming from the theater, he knew, be prepared. And then when it's time, you are ready, and we kind of were, right?
I saw it. It was on Hollywood Boulevard in the theater.
You didn't go to the like cast and crew screening?
I don't remember. It doesn't
Was it
have...
over at the directors, the theater in Beverly Hills on a Monday night, I remember.
Wow, okay. For whatever reason, I don't remember that. I think it was because I was with an audience at the theater, and I went with a friend, and I sat in the back of the theater, and everybody was like really responding to the film in a very vocal way. And I remember being stunned at that screening. I just don't remember the first one. Maybe we were all together, but for some reason it didn't have like as much of an effect on me as it was with an audience.
Right.
There's always a reason for what you're doing.
You have a justification for what
So you're having a justification even now. Just saying.
Well, the work is the only thing that's important, right?
What do you think?
I don't attach that word to this movie. It's over before you start, and I don't know. I never think about any role or any movie kind of like that. It's a piece of art that you're trying to make, and I'll leave that to the ratings board.
It was at the audition that, and I was the second Meg to be cast because the first girl, her mother read the script and said, no, you need to turn this down. And so they had another casting session, and I came in and read with these guys, and then that was the time when you said, okay, I guess I'll do it, because you were hesitant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
I would say most of my scenes are with Bruce, and I really scored with that because if you're going to play tennis with somebody, you want to play with somebody who can really hit the ball and make you work. And we really sang together. We really did. I think the cat scene, for a number of reasons, is my favorite. I think it jump starts the movie. He wakes up in bed. What the fuck is that? And it just becomes a roller coaster. He falls down those stairs into utter chaos as we chase this cat around. And I just love the way it's shot, the swinging. It's called cinema. I've said this before. The cat scene has no cat. There's no cat in that scene, at least when we shot it.
No, yeah.
There's no cat. There's a swinging lamp. There's fabulous supporting music. There's sound effects. And there's two actors being, and we choreographed this. We were not like sloppy about it. It's like, you're going to be there, and you're going to have the mallet, and I'm going to have the baseball bat, or the other way around. I don't really remember. And we were very specific. We're going to hear it there, and then we're going to hear it over there. So that wasn't random. It's not random. And you put all these elements together, and everybody calls it the cat scene. And there's no cat. So this is the illusion of film at its finest.
Okay, what's your name?
My name's Lori. I'm gonna change my question. You said that you didn't want to be in the first one, and since Barbara is not in the second one, what made you want to be in the sequel?
Me.
That's a good
Yeah, I mean, well, it was really, like at that, there's no real tension with that. There was a whole lot more time. There was a whole lot more money. And, it was like, oh, cool, I can get to another 4 weeks and Jeff and I can be silly idiots for running around the hallways waiting for them to set up a shot.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I'm in.
So if Re-Animator made into an animation series, would you guys be interested in voicing your characters?
Animated series. Well, sure. That's not a problem. I actually think, and I don't know why it hasn't been made, I think you'd be a great video game.
Thank you. I'm getting to wrap it up, so we gotta go through these fast.
Hi, my name is Sage. I know you mentioned earlier about how really the most important part is connecting with the characters before everything goes down. How would you say you, as actors, make sure that the audience connects with your characters before everything happens?
Yeah, how do we do it?
Well, you can't. You can't make them connect with you. You just have to do your work, right? You got to know who you are. You got to know what you're doing.
That's more my job after the fact.
That's
to help that.
And it's the writer's job before the fact.
Exactly.
If it's on the page and you go, oh, I know who I am, and I know, my notes, my tone in this thing, and if I play it right, people will care about me. There's only so much of the process that we have control of. So, the play's the thing, as Shakespeare said. It's all about the writing, in essence, and that was sure there.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, my name is Matthew. So, this question goes out to Barbara. Question. All right. So, what was your reaction when reading the script or just doing a scene where you're on the table and Dr. Hill presents his severed head to you?
Presented his head to you. Presented his head. Yeah, what was your reaction?
I mean, look, it's a shocking scene. It was shocking at the time to shoot. It was scary. It was vulnerable. And, every scene, there's something about every scene that's hard or that you really have to pay attention to. I don't think that scene was harder for me to shoot than any other scene, but it was the most vulnerable I've ever been on screen, and it continues to be that to this day. It was daunting, it was scary, but As we said earlier, David Gale was so nice and really a good guy. You know, I really liked him, and you know, the way it was filmed, you think, oh, he did the deed to her, but he didn't. It was really far away.
Our final question, what's your name?
My name's Jacqueline. This is just going to be a really quick question. Since video games were brought up earlier, have you guys ever been contacted about like your characters appearing in video games like Fortnite or Dead by Daylight for collaborations?
No.
Good rapid fire.